Imagine stepping outside your front door tomorrow morning to a scene that completely breaks your brain. In the distance, a massive tiger is blissfully grazing in a field of clover, delicately nibbling on wild flowers. Meanwhile, in your backyard, a tiny rabbit with cold, calculating eyes is aggressively stalking a neighborhood cat. It sounds like a surreal fever dream, but for hundreds of millions of years, planet Earth has operated on a strict, non-negotiable rulebook. Plants harvest the sun, herbivores eat the plants, carnivores eat the herbivores, and decomposers clean up the mess. It is the fundamental law of energy transfer that keeps our world alive and breathing. But what if, overnight, the universe pulled the ultimate cosmic prank? What if every single meat-eater suddenly developed an irresistible craving for greens, and every peaceful plant-eater woke up with an unquenchable thirst for fresh meat? Would nature adapt? Would the food chain rebalance itself? Or would the entire global ecosystem collapse into absolute terrifying chaos within a week? Let's step into an alternate reality and explore what would actually happen if plant eaters and meat eaters switched diets. Before we even get to the hunting, the blood, or the absolute panic, we have to address the immediate, invisible problem: anatomy. Animals didn't just wake up one day and choose what to put on their dinner plates. Their bodies were meticulously sculpted over millions of years of evolution, specifically for the food they eat. So, on day one of the Great Diet Swap, every creature on Earth is going to face a severe biological crisis. Let's start with the ex-carnivores. Big cats, wolves, sharks, and eagles have short, smooth digestive tracts designed to process protein fast before it rots inside them. More importantly, they lack cellulose, the essential enzyme needed to break down tough plant cell walls. If a lion tries to eat grass today, its stomach literally cannot process it. It doesn't get nutrients, it just gets severe stomach cramps, massive indigestion, and an urgent date with a bush. Even worse are the obligate carnivores like domestic cats. Felines physically cannot produce taurine, a vital amino acid they can only get by eating meat. Without it, they go blind and suffer heart failure. So if your sweet little tabby cat suddenly decides to become a vegan, she isn't just going to be grumpy. She's facing a ticking biological clock. Now let's flip the script to the new predators, the former herbivores. Cows, sheep, deer, and elephants have massive, complex digestive systems built around multi-chambered stomachs or huge fermentation vats like the rumen. Their digestive systems are essentially slow-cooking plant fermenters. If a cow swallows raw meat, that complex four-chambered stomach isn't equipped to handle high-density animal fats and heavy proteins in bulk. The meat would sit in the warm, slow-moving chambers, ferment incorrectly, and breed toxic bacteria, causing deadly bloat. Evolution isn't a light switch you can just flip. Day one isn't a grand swap of lifestyles, it's a global outbreak of severe food poisoning. Once the initial digestive confusion wears off and pure, desperate hunger sets in, the world becomes a genuinely terrifying place. Because when you think about it, nature's plant eaters are built like absolute tanks. We tend to think of herbivores as gentle, innocent creatures, but that's only because they aren't trying to eat us. Herbivores spent millions of years in an evolutionary arms race against predators, which means they grew massive bodies, impenetrable armor, and devastating weaponry just to stay alive. Now take those defense mechanisms and give them an aggressive, predatory instinct. Imagine a hippopotamus. Even as a vegetarian, the hippo is already one of the most aggressive, dangerous animals in Africa, boasting a bite force of nearly 2,000 pounds per square inch and razor-sharp tusks. Now imagine a hippo that actively wants to hunt you. Rivers, lakes, and waterholes become absolute death traps. Or consider the African elephant, weighing up to 7 tons, smart, incredibly fast for its size, and capable of knocking down entire trees. An elephant hunting in a pack with other elephants isn't just a predator. It's a living, breathing siege engine. No pack of lions could ever stop a creature like that. Even on a smaller scale, the world turns into a horror movie. Deer, with their silent, graceful movement and razor-sharp antlers, would become the ultimate forest stalkers. A swarm of carnivorous locusts wouldn't just strip a crop field bare, they would act like a cloud of airborne piranhas sweeping through towns and stripping any exposed living creature to the bone in minutes. And let's not forget the oceans. Whales, specifically massive baleen whales like the blue whale, were built to filter tiny krill. If they switch to hunting larger prey, their throat anatomy actually prevents them from swallowing anything bigger than a beach ball. But sperm whales and smaller marine life, they become the undisputed monsters of the deep, hunting down former ocean apex predators like great white sharks, who are now busy trying to scrape sea kelp off underwater rocks. While the former plant eaters are terrorizing the countryside, what are the former apex predators doing? Honestly, they're having a terrible time. Predators are built for explosive bursts of speed, stealth, and sharp violence. They have forward-facing eyes for depth perception to track moving prey, sharp claws for tearing, and pointed canine teeth meant for ripping flesh, not flat, grinding molars designed to crush tough fibers. Watch a wolf try to eat a field of wheat. Without flat molars to grind down the grain, it has to gulp down plants whole. Watch a cheetah try to graze. Its incredible speed is completely useless against a patch of static berries. A cheetah burning thousands of calories to run down a bush is a recipe for quick starvation. Furthermore, plants don't offer the quick, calorie-dense payoff that meat does. To survive on grass and leaves, herbivores have to spend up to 16 hours a day constantly eating. A grizzly bear, used to catching a fat, calorie-dense salmon and calling it a day, would now have to spend every waking second constantly chewing on twigs and shrubs, just to keep its massive body from burning through its reserves. The mighty lion, the legendary king of the jungle, is reduced to sitting solemnly in the savannah, sluggishly trying to chew through tough grass with teeth that act like scissors rather than grinders. As hilarious or terrifying as these individual matchups sound, the macro-level impact on Earth's environment would be apocalyptic. In ecology, energy flows upward through what is called the trophic pyramid. Plants gather energy from the sun, producer level. Herbivores eat the plants, primary consumers. Carnivores eat the herbivores, secondary consumers. Because energy is lost at each step, there has to be a massive base of plants, a large population of herbivores, and a tiny population of carnivores. There are always vastly more deer in a forest than there are wolves. Now imagine flipping that balance. Suddenly 90% of the animal kingdom, the billions of former herbivores like cows, sheep, rodents and insects, needs meat to survive. But the former carnivores, the tiny 10% of the animal population, cannot possibly breed fast enough or produce enough physical biomass to feed all those new meat eaters. The new carnivores would strip the earth of animal flesh within weeks. Once they eat through the former predators, they would quickly turn on each other. Massive cannibalistic sprees would wipe out entire species of former herbivores. Meanwhile, with almost no animals left to eat the plants, vegetation across the globe would go completely out of control. Forests would choke on untamed undergrowth. Wild grasses would swamp ecosystems. Oxygen levels might temporarily spike, but without animals to keep plant growth in check or spread seeds through traditional digestion, the structural balance of global forests would shatter. So, where does humanity stand in this strange, inverted nightmare? Technically, humans are omnivores. We eat both meat and plants. But our entire global society, agriculture and economy are heavily optimized around farming passive, predictable herbivores. If cows, pigs and chickens suddenly turn into aggressive, blood-seeking carnivores, industrial farming collapses overnight. You can't keep a herd of cows in a wooden barn if those cows actively want to bite your arm off. Humanity would be forced to adapt instantly. Livestock farming as we know it would end. We would likely have to transition rapidly to entirely plant-based agriculture just to survive, while simultaneously building heavy defense fortifications around cities to keep out packs of feral, carnivorous deer and aggressive herds of roaming cattle. Ironically, in a world where nature completely flipped its diet, humans might be the only creatures left sitting safely at the top of the chain, simply because we already know how to eat our vegetables. The Great Diet Swap is a fascinating mental exercise, but it highlights a profound truth about our planet. Nature isn't just a collection of random animals living together. It is an intricately engineered, finely tuned machine built over billions of years of evolution. Every sharp tooth, every multi-chambered stomach, every claw and every flat molar exists for a very specific reason. The prey needs the predator just as much as the predator needs the prey to keep the planet in balance. So the next time you see a peaceful cow lazily chewing grass in a field, or watch a documentary featuring a terrifying lion on the hunt, be grateful that evolution got it right the first time. Because a world